Awesome, awesome. So, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. All right, so it is 12:04. As promised, I will be coming in at 12 um every day answering questions to help you to along this entrepreneurial journey, right? So I did log on at 12, but I actually had to do the description and all that stuff. So for people who don't know me, my name is Elisa Applewhite. Um, I call myself, time is up. There we go. I call myself CEO 3 times. We have 3 companies. One is called Top of the Line Healthcare Staffing, where we staff help medical professionals in hospitals, nurse homes, and clinics. The other one is called TOTLHS Heart of Gold Inc., and that is our nonprofit where we take care of medical professionals. And then we have our consulting company called The Real Soul Medical Professionals, as well as healthcare staffing owners on how to run a business. We consult medical professionals on how to treat patients, what to do when it comes to patient care, and being the best medical professional you can be. And then we also consult hospitals on how to keep their staff and effectively treat their staff so that they can be the best hospitals that they can be. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you do in healthcare, there should be one goal, right? And that one goal should always be the patient. You should want to give the patient the best experiences possible because they are the ones that need us at that time, and this is why we are in healthcare. So I get so many emails and so many messages and so many DMs, text messages as well. Like I'll be trying to figure out how people get my cell phone number. So I get messages and people just ask me questions. So I seen that there is a need for the questions to be answered, and I honestly cannot answer every question that people ask me. And I can't answer every DM that people ask me, right? I guess I could get my virtual assistant to do it, but she would still have to talk to me to see what my response is. So I figure if I can do 15 minutes a day, I'll be up here live. I'm committing to 12 p.m. every day, even on the weekends. I decided yesterday I'm going to do this even on the weekends, where you can get up here and you can ask me questions, so you can comment in the comment section and I will answer your questions live. And if you missed the live, then if you send me a DM, and when I'm checking my messages late at night, because sometimes I check my messages at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I respect people's time. I'm not gonna respond back to you at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? So unless like you're a family member or a friend, I text you and respond. So what you can do is you can DM me the question, and what I'll do is answer it live on the next scheduled live. So that was a little bit about me. I hope that this works and helps a lot of people. But the question that I'm going to answer today is, somebody DM me and they said, and I don't know if they want me to start mentioning names. Maybe I should start mentioning names of the people, the questions people DM me. You tell me how. Just in the comments, should I mention names or should I just say somebody had a question? Because I want to make sure that they get the answer to this. And what I'll do is I will send the live to you or try to connect you to the live, tag you in the live so you can get the answer to your question. All right, so let's get on to it because we're already almost 5 minutes in. So the question that was given to me was, how did I start my business without funding, right? Without having the money in the bank to start my business. So when I started my business, I'm kind of like an open book. You know, I got some chapters I keep to myself. But when I started my business, I always tell people that ask me this question, I started it when my credit score was like 602. It was super, super low, right? And I had $50,000 that I had saved up from working as a travel nurse, traveling all over the United States. So that is what I started my business with. Now, granted, I could have took that $50,000 now that I know what I know and utilized that to start my business as far as staffing, as far as like staffing people within the budget that I had, right? So if you have good credit, right, you could get a business loan. If you have, or a personal loan, if you have finances, right, like 20,000, 10,000, or whatever, you can start, but it's just a certain way that you start, right? And I teach this in my course for people who wants to know, like how to start a staffing agency with no money, or with a little bit of money. Like, you can consult me with this and I can go more into detail, but I won't have enough time here on the live to explain it. But I can go more into detail on how you can start with your own money. But because I came out and I knew my company name was going to be Top of the Line Healthcare Staffing, and I just wanted extra stuff, like stuff I didn't even have to buy or pay for. I knew that the growth that I wanted to do, and the numbers that I wanted to hit, like I knew the revenue I wanted to target coming straight out, that I would have to get assistance with money. So what happened was I couldn't get the assistance from the bank because I just had started my business in May of 2021. So I couldn't get the financial assistance from the bank because I had no history as a business, right? And then I couldn't get the personal credit side because I had a poor credit, right? And some state employees credit unions, like if you go to credit unions, some of them don't go based on the credit number. They go based on exactly what's on your credit. So, you know, you could qualify for stuff like that. And they, depending on the credit union, I know North Carolina State Employees Credit Union, they can give you like a personal loan, unsecured personal loan for like up to $50,000. And they don't go based on your credit score. They just go based on what's on your credit, your payment history, and what your history is with them and how many years you've been with them, right? So what I did was I got a factoring company, and my actual consultant that I got consulted with on my business was the first one who introduced me to factoring companies. So a lot of people don't know what factoring companies are. So simple words, a factoring company is a company that's open to give you money until your clients pay you. So the simplest, I guess that's the simplest way I can say it. And I'm trying to give you an example. So if I am a staffing company and I get a client, say Atrium Health is my client, right? I get a client, Atrium Health is my client, and Atrium Health is going to take anywhere from 45 to 60 days to pay me, right? But I have to pay my medical professionals every week. So because I have to pay my medical professionals every week, after my staff have worked and I have proof that they work, I need to make sure they get paid on the date that I set. So it's whatever date that your company sets to be paid. So what I do is I get a factoring company, and that factoring company says, hey, based on the credit of Atrium Health, we will give you $10,000 on this invoice, and when we give you $10,000 on this invoice, you're good. And when Atrium Health pays you in 40 or 65 days, 60 days, then we're going to take that money, take out what's left. We're going to take what's owed to us and give you what's left. So 3 things that people should look for when they're looking for a factoring company, right? No credit check on you. You need to pick a factoring company that has no credit check on you, meaning they check the credit based on the client. So if you're going to do business with, let's say, Atrium Health, right, and they check Atrium Health credit, they'll say to you, hey, Elisa, based on Atrium Health's credit, you can bill them for $1 million every 30 days. So the factoring company is going to give you up to $1 million of invoices for 30 days. But of course, you got to have the people to work the $1 million, or you got to have the people to, you got to have the proof that you're billing Atrium Health $1 million with the client. So you have that invoice, you send it to them, they advance you. So that's one thing you want to make sure you look for when you have a factoring company, is that they are checking the credit of the client, the person that is saying, hey, if you give me these nurses or medical professionals temporarily, then I promise I'll pay you in 40 or 65 days. Now, people don't know you can do this in any industry. You can do this in trucking. You can do this in what's that construction. You could do this, and if you staff housekeeping, you can do this in any industry where you have an invoice that you're billing somebody out, right? So this is just not healthcare industry. This is any industry. There are so many factoring companies out there that you can choose, right, to help you, when you don't have the money up front to start your business. The second thing you want to look at is make sure the advance rate is 90 to 100%. You do have factoring companies that will advance you 100%, meaning if I buy this invoice from you, I'm going to only give you 90% of what that invoice is worth. So if it's a $100 invoice, I'm only going to give you $90 of that invoice, and I'm going to keep $10 here to make sure that the client pays their bill, right? Because out of that $10 is usually the percentage that they will get paid. So this is huge. I didn't even write this down on my list. So it just came to me. God is so amazing in every way, I'm telling you. Make sure you look at the percentage that the factoring company is charging you. If the factoring company is charging you a 10%, that means that for every $100 that you borrow from them, you're giving them $10, right? So you want to make sure your percentage is anywhere between 3 and lower. I would honestly say 1 to 2%, because you have some factoring companies that will do 1 to 2%. And what I've learned in my growth along the way is that when you do deals, when you do stuff like private investor deals and stuff like that, or real estate deals, usually the percentage that people get back off of that annual return, and they usually get it, some people get it quarterly, right? Quarterly returns. But usually it'd be like a total annual return of like anywhere from 12 to 16%. Now some places might be higher, but usually market standard is, meaning if I give you $100,000, I'm going to get a 12 or 16% increase off of that $100,000. Well, the factoring company, they'll charge you per invoice, meaning you can pay if they pay for an invoice for you for that week, and they charge you 2%. That's 2% on that invoice from that client. So if you got 6 clients, 2 times 6 is 12% in 1 week, right? So I mean, that's a great business, but at the same time, so you're talking about now we're taking 12% per week from you times 52 weeks. That is well over 12 to 14% over in the year, right? So you got to be sure that the percentage you sign for with a factoring company is at least 3% or less. Some companies like, well, we never did business with you, so we got to do 4 to 5%. I would definitely say if we're going to do 4 to 5%, let's put it in the contract where we do that 4 to 5% for at least 6 months, so I can establish that I have been with you. My clients have paid for 6 months, and then within 6 months that drops down to 3 to 2%, because it's your money, right? You're doing the work, and they just lending you the money. And what staffing companies will try to tell you is, well, we're taking the risk. Most of that money's insured, right? Meaning if the client doesn't pay, then that money's insured and they don't lose anything because that money is insured. So that was the next thing I was gonna say. The third thing before I get off, cause see, I could talk, y'all. It's been 15 minutes already. So the last and third thing that I'm gonna say to you is make sure you find a staffing company. A factoring company that the money is insured. Meaning, if your client decides not to pay and you have to take them to court, that you don't have to repay that money back, and you could just take that client to court and get that client paid, and the factoring company won't bill you back that money saying, hey, your client didn't pay, so you're gonna have to pay that cost, because some companies can't afford to eat that cost. And there is staffing agencies out there that specifically will tell you, oh, the money's insured, we'll go the extra mile to take that person to court to get this percentage money back, and then you go the extra mile. But in order to not get in that predicament, when your bill is due, it needs to be due. And it's just that simple. When your bill is due, it needs to be due, and you need to be calling your clients when your bill is due to get it paid. And you need to bother them like it's your rent that's about to, or your mortgage or your light's about to get cut off. Like, take it very seriously so you don't get to that part. But I think that is something that you should know. So just to summarize everything up, and I hope this answers your question, is 3 things you should do when you're looking for a factoring company, and that is make sure they're checking the client of your credit. Number 2 is make sure they're advancing you at least 90 to 100% of the invoice. And number 3, that is to, oh Lord, I forgot about number 3. Oh, number 3, make sure the money is insured. Alright, so you can follow me on all social media handles at The Real Elisa Applewhite. Again, that is The Real Elisa Applewhite on all social media handles. Make sure you also go to therealaac.com and order your book today. That book is Make the Call to Get the Client, How to Create 7 Figures in Your Healthcare Staffing Business. I hope this has helped you. I am now 48 minutes over. I will see you tomorrow, family, at 12 o'clock, and y'all hold me accountable. Any questions that you have that I can answer live, please inbox me. Bye, y'all.